everybody. My name is Michael. I am from Ontario, Canada here. I was born and raised in London. I have been having E.T contact and more recently some Sasquatch contact, but I've been having psychic stuff happen throughout my whole life. And that's what I've been doing for a living for the last almost 10 years now. And doing psychic stuff and teaching people about psychic things is kind of like a really nice passion for me. And there's when I do a psychic session with somebody, say it's over the phone, a lot of people like to focus on career and romance especially, but the last 4 or 5 years have been really pushed into the helping to find missing people and stuff like that. And I have been working with the Find Me group. It's findmegroup.org, and they're based out of Phoenix, Arizona. And it's a guy named Kelly Snyder. And really great guy. He's an ex-DEA agent, and he has friends in the FBI and all those sort of things. And really good guy, and he started doing it almost 30 years ago. And I had to go through a testing process in order to start working with them. And I did pretty good on the testing. And it was nerve-wracking to do testing stuff where all they give you is the photograph of somebody and their name, and they say, tell us what happened. And you have to hand that in, and they give you a good amount of time to go through and do it. But yeah, it was a really interesting process, and now the stuff that I've been doing with them has been really rewarding. So far, one of the people through the group has been found alive, and then another person before I joined the group was a girl that we ended up finding alive. She ended up just hiding out at a girlfriend's house, but it's really enjoying work, but it's also very taxing when when they're not found, right? So excuse me. So I'm a practice remote viewer as well. I started learning remote viewing 15 years ago this September. And I learned controlled remote viewing first. Then I learned scientific remote viewing, which is kind of And then I started learning the Hawaiian Remote Viewing Guild's way. And by far that one I find works the best for me. And now I've just kind of combined them all, and that's kind of what I do with the search and rescue stuff. Is I'll use that method, the one that I kind of created for myself, and kind of have several printouts where I don't even have to think about it anymore. I just go from sector to sector, and the information just flows in really nicely and easily. It's remote viewing. There's a lot of misnomers and miscommunications with it. What a lot of the New Age community calls remote viewing is actually just people looking at things clairvoyantly. And clairvoyantly is psychically visualizing something. A dream could be considered clairvoyance, but seeing someone's aura or seeing, a orb out of the corner of your eye or something could be considered clairvoyance as well. And obviously clairaudience is clear audio, which is, hearing a voice or a sound. And that has developed a lot more over the last 4 or 5 years for me, where I'll be in the middle of a session, and all of a sudden there'll be a name come through or an address. And addresses and names are pretty hard to come through normally with psychic information, but the more you practice and the more you go through it and learn to get into that channeled state, that flowing state, it allows for things to come in randomly at random times. And if I work on a session really hard for someone who went missing, and I could be driving the next day, and when you get it, it's like when the conditions are right, the information will just plop right in there. I'll have to pull over and start writing things down. And but yeah, it's those moments where your body, your mind, and your energy are all in tune with the moment. It's like tuning the frequency, like everybody else was talking about earlier. Is when you get into those psychic states, it's basically like setting up a satellite dish. Our body is like a satellite dish, and the channels are the signals that come through. And that's kind of how I think about it, at least. But honestly, I really have no idea how it all really works. It's just energy, I guess. But so growing up, living in London, I had a lot of night terrors as a kid, and every time I would go to bed, I would close my eyes and I'd see people's faces, or I'd see images of someone getting hurt or something happening, and it would terrify me, and I'd go running to my parents' room. And yeah, there's a lot of other stuff that happened to me around that age, but between the ages of like 6, 7, and 8 was when I had more what I would call like E.T. or multi-dimensional contact starting. And it was one example of the E.T. stuff was you'd have to go down the hallway to go to the bathroom, and at the end of the hallway there's a handrail, and you'd have to go around the handrail to go down the stairs. And I saw big black eyes looking at me through the handrail, and I just ran back into my room. It scared the living bejesus out of me. And there's a lot of little things like that. There's a corner bush in our backyard where me and my brother and my sister would always feel something looking at us. And the odd time we would see like red eyes looking at us, like big glowing red eyes. We saw big insect eyes looking at us. And there's a story that I've told to you. I think I told you about the reptilian in my closet on your show. That was the one that stuck with me the most. I woke up in the middle of the night and kind of startled awake, and there was reptilian eyes looking at me from my closet, and it just slowly started coming towards me, and I kind of hid under the covers, and it was like I was frozen as soon as I got into position. And I don't actually remember what happened. I think it might have just left. I'm not sure, but it got to a certain point, and it was like I couldn't tell that it was moving. It was going so slow towards me. And I had nightmares from that. I still have nightmares about it, actually. But I had so many drawings of that thing, trying to get it out of my brain, trying to get it out of me. My mom was an artist, so she said, just keep drawing it until, the nightmares go away. And it helped, but there was I must have drawn it hundreds and hundreds of times to try to get it out. But it still makes me nervous, and it still bothers me, even though it didn't do anything wrong. It was in my home. Maybe that's wrong, but it didn't hurt me. It was just scary to me, right? And I've had other times where I've had possibly telepathic contact with that being when I saw a cigar ship go by, and it looked like a cigar with kind of like a triangle at the back, and it was just like a small triangle at the back. That incident left me with some trauma, and some other things happened that were more positive. I've had way more positive contact than negative contact. I'd say under 4 or 5% has been negative, and the rest has been positive. And I'm trying to keep it that way and trying to keep my vibes higher to attract more of that higher vibrational energy. But yeah, there's an incident, not incidents. I saw what I think was a UFO out of my window on Christmas Eve. And I remember being so, it was like I had an obsession with, I knew I was going to see something out my window. I was sitting by my window for, I don't know how long, a while, thinking that I was going to see something. And this white light came from right to left, and just, it kind of came in quick and then stopped. And then in my mind, it turned into Santa Claus and the reindeer flying across the sky. And like, it sounds ridiculous, but they're able to project these things into your mind to make you a little bit more at ease and more relaxed. And that one really stuck with me, where, you know, the next day I saw Santa Claus's reindeer. And like, it sounds ridiculous, but
did you believe in that at that time?
I was maybe 7 or 8, so probably, yeah. And the following year, this is a story that I haven't really told to many people. What's that?
You waited by your window again? No.
No, I was actually waiting for Santa Claus the next year by the Christmas tree by the fireplace. And I watched my parents come down and put presents, bite the cookie, drink the milk. And I'm like, those bastards are drinking Santa's stuff. And a few moments later, they go upstairs, and I go and look by the tree, and I go and sit on the couch, and I wait a little while, and I'm like, I'm going to give it some more time. And I went and kind of went back behind the couch again, and something walked through the wall. It was like a 5.5 foot tall gray, but its face changed almost right away to looking like a clown. And it didn't look like our normal clowns that we know. It looked like half gray, half clown. Effing terrifying to see. But it was very, very, very quick. Like, it was there, and then I just remember walking up the stairs after and going to bed, thinking the next day, did I see Santa? Like, so they must know our, like, the things that we tell our children and those kind of stories. Because, like, that's all I could think was the next day was, I think I saw Santa. Just like the year before when I saw the UFO come in and turn into this Santa Claus and its reindeer. But yeah, those were the ones that really stuck with me the most part. There's a lot of little things that happened, but the contact around that age was probably, those ones were the most impressionable, I should say. And there's another one where I only have little snippets of memory where a perfect circle opened up in the wall right where the chimney would be. Like, my bed was on the other side, and then there's the chimneys behind that wall, and there's a perfect circle. And on the other side was vines and trees. And 5.5 foot tall looking grays walked through. They had big crystalline blue eyes, and that was all the only memory I had. And later on that week, I was outside playing hide and seek with my brother and some of our friends, and I noticed that there was a perfect circle in those vines along the brick on the other side of the wall. So I don't know if it was a UFO that was out there and shined a light to go through the wall, but to me, on my side, it looked like they just kind of walked through as if it was just another room on the other side of the wall. And so I'm still trying to wrap my mind around it. Yeah, that was still trying to figure that one out. But there was 2 beings that came through, and they got just, I don't know, maybe 6-7 feet from me. and then memory stops, which is kind of a pattern that has happened with throughout my childhood. Is I'd see something would happen, and then my memory would stop, or they took that memory, or whatever happened. I really don't know after those points. But yeah, growing up, I ended up working at Little Caesars and then did drywall. And I always had little psychic things happening, but most of it was just my intuition telling me things, and I'd see the odd thing psychically. But when I was doing drywall the one day, and a voice came through and said, "You're going to work as a psychic," and I just laughed it off because it was ridiculous to me at the time, like ridiculous. And just later on that week, there's a guy, Gary, that we worked with, and my good friend Jaden, and our boss, his name is Abraham. And both me and Jaden the same night had a dream of Gary on a motorcycle and hitting a car and going over it. And we were both talking about it at 8 o'clock in the morning the next day. And then our boss Abraham comes in and said, "We're going home. Gary's dead. He passed away in a motorcycle accident." And it was the exact spot, everything. And so it was just really interesting that me and my friend shared that dream. And I need to talk to Jaden about it. But anyways, so that was kind of when things started ramping up. But throughout my life, through the time period before my mid-20s, when things started to really ramp up, there was I was trying to almost like suffocate myself psychically, trying not to have psychic stuff happen, trying to ignore it all, just because I wanted to be a normal guy. I didn't want to go into this. I didn't want to experience this stuff. And I always told myself that those things that happened when I was younger and in my teens, I just kept telling myself they were just dreams. They didn't really happen. And, you convince yourself of things because when you talk to your friends or family, they shut you down. They tell you to, tell you that it's not real, or they just laugh at you. When they laugh at you, that's the one. Those are the ones that really stick with you. But when I was in my early 20s, I had a back injury and waited a while and had a back surgery when I was 25. And then I was getting needle injections into my back in order to help with the pain. And it was about a year and a half after my surgery where I ended up having a near-death experience on the way to the hospital. And leading up to it was fairly traumatic. I don't know if I need to go into it, but I was in the ambulance, had the near-death experience, saw the tunnel. There's beams on either side. They were just a blur. I just went towards the light, and I was kind of encompassed in this really, really loving energy, and there's no voices, nothing other than this feeling that I knew I needed to go back. And I kept saying no, like I don't want to go back. Which you hear a lot of people say, like when you get in that presence of that energy, you don't want to come back here because it's so dense and here. And I was back in my body and waking up in the hospital. My mom was on.
You ordered back by an entity?
No.
Did it go,
No.
Michael, you're not ready, go back.
No.
Oh, you did it?
I was in this presence. There was no voice or anything. It was just a knowing that I had to go back.
Okay.
Back then I called it God, but it was just like an over-encompassed consciousness of love is really the only way to like accurately describe it. So I was back in my body, and my mom was on my left, my dad was on my right, and the doctor was behind my dad. And I'm looking at them, they're talking, and in the hallway, I watched a it was 4 Native American in the full dress with the feathers, dancing and singing, coming into my room. They did a circle and then went out of the room. And nobody else in the room saw it except for me. And that's another thing I'm trying to wrap my mind around, is like, I don't have Native American in my blood, but it was like they were raising the vibes in the room, because it was like when I woke up, it was like I needed to be in a more positive energy, because I was so upset that I was back. I was so upset about what happened, and I was in a lot of pain. And it was just, it was almost like a distraction, because I didn't hear anything my parents said. I didn't hear what the doctor said, what happened. I was just looking at them. And the next day, or it might have been the same day, there was another guy in the room. He said that he saw the Native Americans too, but he ended up dying the next day. The guy that was the bed over, he ended up dying. So that made me think, like, okay, we were both close to death, and maybe that's why we both saw it. But it was pretty weird. It was very, very, very weird.
Is it like a sacrifice?
Sacrifice? No. Yeah, this is when I woke up in the hospital. Yeah. Excuse me. And if you guys have questions after, I'm happy to answer them too. So I made a whole bunch of notes that I've just kind of been ignoring, but honestly, a lot of the stuff that I put in here, other people that have gone already have already talked about, so I don't need to cover a lot of it, which is awesome. Yeah, I'll go into some of it for sure. Yeah, totally. All right. So one thing I'd like to talk about actually is when I have contact, when beings come into, say, my room, like an ET or a multidimensional, I call it the remembering, because when their energy comes in, it's like all of a sudden you remember all the experiences you had with them. You remember them, who they are to you. You remember all of these things. And then when they put you back, or you go back in your bed, or they leave, it's like, I call that the forgetting. And you forget everything that happened. And it's very, very frustrating. So as soon as I get back, or as soon as I wake up from something happening, I go to a journal right away and write down as much as I can as possible. And even if it's something small, I write it down, because you never know what will connect the dots later. I literally have a Rubbermaid bin full of journals of experiences of stuff, and then I have a whole other Rubbermaid bin of dream encounters and dream contact and stuff. And it's a lot. It's a lot of stuff that I write all this stuff down because of that forgetting, and because of when you read it a couple of years later, I won't have any recollection of it whatsoever. And it's kind of freaky when you read your own writing and you don't have any memory of it. It's really weird. And so it's something that I'm still trying to work out with, why they don't want us to have memories of these things. I know that with the remembering and forgetting, it's kind of like, it might be just their frequency that allows you to remember. So maybe it's just our physical human bodies that can't remember these things. Maybe. It's kind of a wild guess, but that's possibly what it is. So yeah, after my surgeries and my near-death experience, I had I went into a lot of training into remote viewing, and I went into the whole CE5 path and learning to connect with myself a lot more, a lot stronger. And when you connect with yourself and kind of, do that, what people call like the shadow work and all that stuff, that happens naturally as you raise your vibration and raise your energy. And so with around when I started getting into CE5 a lot more, I started to see a lot more things out of the corner of my eye. I started to see beings like in my backyard poking their head up above the fence and then running away. And a lot of CE5 stuff that we did with some of my neighbors or some of my friends, some of them got to see some of these beings too, which told me, they were more physical. So I have had lots of physical experiences, but the majority of them are the multidimensional or interdimensional beings. One thing that happened in my backyard where I saw a being poke its head over the fence, and then I literally heard the pitter patter of it run away. And for days I was going back and forth in my head of like, what's happening to me? I don't want to do this. I can't do this. I'm trying to get my life together here. And I felt like I was going crazy. That next night I ended up going outside and I screamed in my mind out to the universe, what is happening to me, and is this real? And it was frustration and energy shooting out to the sky. And as soon as I finished that thought, a ball of light kind of grew out of nothing, just a big ball of light. It was at least 100 feet wide, at least. Flew across the sky a little bit and then just kind of swallowed up on itself. It collapsed on itself. And I got my answer. It was like, okay, yeah, this stuff is real. And when that happened, it was very euphoric. The energy that was all over me was I started crying because it was so incredible, and it was like really exhilarating. I had a few other experiences in that backyard in London. I think it was the same summer as that. After that happened, I went out and bought camera equipment and tripods and all this stuff, and sat in my backyard and would do CE5 stuff. And one of the more energetically profound and consciously profound ones was when I was sitting there filming, a ball of light appeared. It was pretty far at first and then started coming closer and closer. It was getting bigger and bigger. And next thing I knew, I was on this craft with this being. It was a person. He looked totally normal, like totally human at first. He looked a lot like me. He was sitting cross-legged in the middle of this bubble thing, and he turned and looked at me, and his face started morphing into a cat being. It looked like a lion face. And he gestures energetically down to the right, and I look down, and I can see myself filming me in the UFO. And it's like these two things were happening at the same time, where it was like I was consciously aware of myself filming this craft, but I was in the craft looking at myself. And that one told me a lot more about our conscious reality is so far outside of what we're taught, just completely bonkers. And yeah, but that same summer, that last one I talked about, I might have that video on my YouTube page, I'm not sure. But the next one is on my YouTube page for sure. It's a tandem, I call it the tandem craft, where it's a ball of light and a ball of light below it with energy in between it. And I was filming that, and you can hear me in the video saying, oh my God, what is that I'm feeling? And I was getting chills of energy going up and down my spine. And consciously I knew what was happening if I was getting a healing from them. I was having really bad neck pain and shoulder pain. I had a little bit of a pinched nerve here, and excuse me. And as soon as the craft was far enough away, I stopped recording and got up and started pacing a little bit. I look over to down the driveway, and there's this see-through being with a huge, long, elongated head, the big oval eyes, and its eyes were kind of like a silvery, whitey blue color. And it was very transparent, but there was like this aura around it that was like a silvery white color. And I connected with it emotionally, and I felt this calmness come over me, and its feet came up off the ground, and it floated up and over top of my garage and disappeared over my garage. That's the part I really wish I got on film, but the craft is still really cool to have on film. And you can hear me in the background talking about the energy that I'm feeling and all that kind of stuff too. But there's, I think, 2 videos on that video.
Yeah, was it light or did you see metal?
That one was just balls of light. It was a ball of light, a sliver of energy, and another ball of light. That one was no metal, not that one.
Metal thing appeared in your video.
Not on that one, no. There's other videos that there is metal ones, yeah. There's a bunch of UFO videos on my YouTube. Lots I still need to put out. I'm kind of lazy about putting out the videos, but yeah, that's something that you kind of, I don't know if you get in trouble about it, but when you put information out there about these beings able to heal humans, I've heard other people talk about it too, but it's almost like it's taboo in a way. And since then, I've had a lot of clients ask me, can you ask them to heal this? Can you ask them to heal that? And in those sessions, I try to just tell them what they've told me. And that's, if you're able to get halfway there yourself, then they will help the rest of the way. So they want to see you put the initiative in. They want to see you have, they want to see you get there mostly yourself, and then they get you the rest of the way. Usually you just heal yourself, and that's what they're really trying to do, I think. But in the other instances where I have...
What species was it, Mike? Was it a gray or was it...
That one, it kind of looked like a gray, it kind of looked like...
It didn't identify itself, right?
No. It just connected emotionally and then flew away.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. That one was very beautiful. Smoky white energy around it, swirling around it. Very beautiful energy. That was very, very euphoric. I can't even describe what that energy felt like to get that healing happen. And it happened instantaneous, and I didn't even realize that I was healed until like 10 or 15 minutes later when I was walking back down my driveway. And I was like, wait a second, like, I'm not hurting right now. And even, I still ask this, but I asked them, like, at that time, I was like, I had the back surgery and all this back stuff. Like, why didn't you heal my back? And that's when I learned, like, they want you to get you there most of the way yourself. And I'm almost there, you know, slowly healing, but yep.
What happened to your back?
I first heard it when I was 13 years old on a trampoline, and then a few months later on a soccer field. The whole soccer team came piling in and went head over heels and stuff. And then I healed in my teens, and then when I was 21 years old, I slipped in a parking lot on ice and fell on one of those parking things, and I was holding a toolbox, and yeah, I lost motion in my left leg, and I was laying in the parking lot for a while before someone came out to look for me, and then they called went to the hospital on all that stuff, and slowly healed back a little bit, and then I didn't really know I could heal myself then, but it was like a back and forth of healing, getting better, and then getting crappier, and then it got to such a bad point that I decided to get the surgery, and yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah, no, the reason why is I'm asking is there's several of us here with bad backs.
Mm-hmm.
Myself included,
Yeah, it's nothing. People don't understand unless they go through it. They just don't. It messes with your view on the world, of other people, and your emotions. It messes with everything. It's like when something happens to your spine or a major injury in that way, it's like your body can't regulate properly, on and off. You go through mood swings that are crazy mood swings, where you're really happy one moment and then really crappy the next moment. And
think it has any uptick and increase of alien visitation?
I never thought about it that way. It might. I'm not sure.
Pain makes you more intelligent. That's what your wisdom teeth are for. If you go in your adult life, through a period of tremendous pain, that rewires your brain to be more aware of reality.
Interesting.
That's why they pull your wisdom teeth.
Yeah. When I was in my early 20s, I had my wisdom teeth come in. They told me that I didn't need to bother getting them removed. And then in my early 20s, I was getting really, really bad headaches all the time. And it ended up being my wisdom teeth pressing up against the nerve and my blood pressure or something. But that's interesting. I never thought about it that way either.
Do you have your wisdom teeth, or you got them removed?
I got them removed after that.
Oh, you
Yeah.
did, right?
Yeah.
Is there anybody here that still has them? What do you think now? Sorry,
Mine don't bother me. Mine don't bother me.
Yeah, mine don't bother me either. Anyway. Let's get back.
sorry about that.
No worries. Gives me a little bit of a break there, so that's good. Actually, why don't I just go right into questions? You guys want to ask questions?
I have a question.
Yo.
Have you ever had a gnome experience?
Come on, dude. Yes, I have.
Would you like to talk to us?
Now's the
about it?
perfect time, bro.
Really? Okay.
Camera's on.
It's not one that I like to talk about just because how weird it is, but
What was leading up to it is important.
it is. I agree.
An incredible experience.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't hear in the back.
No, gnome experience. Yeah, a gnome. It might be a gnome. It looked like a gnome to me. So, I don't know what year this was. This would have been, I would say 6, 7 years ago. I had a meditation group in London, and they lived by a creek, and we were doing meditation and stuff in the backyard, and we were doing a kind of a ritual in order to release heavy emotions and bad memories and stuff like that, where we wove sticks together in a circle, and we went down to the creek 3 at a time. And the first time I went down with I'm blanking on their name, two women at first, and we would go over the bridge and around and down, and there's a opening clearing with a whole bunch of grass on the right hand side, and we would put those sticks, floating them in the water, and you'd throw rocks as if you're letting your emotions go. So as it's starting to slowly float, you're throwing rocks into it trying to release those emotions, those negative experiences, whatever it is. And there's a lot of energy at this place when we were doing this. We meditated first so that we were all amped up, and we started heading back after we did that. And on our left-hand side, we heard some rustling. We saw this little, it looked like red, like his chair, that color of red, just this little cap thing. And me and the two ladies started moving a little bit closer towards it. And I don't know how else to describe it other than it was all of the grass and everything flattened out as if something moved really, really quickly through the grass. It was just like, and it was like 200 yards gone in half a second, just really, really fast. But you could see all of the brush part and open. And that was really, really weird. It surprised us. We go back to the other people that were in the group and tell them what happened. And we were like, okay, is something interdimensional happened? We weren't sure what it was at first. And so Ron and his wife, I'm still blanking on her name, Heather. Anyway, I go back. Heather tells me that I think that beam was there for you, Michael. Why don't you take the next two people down? And you take them down two at a time. So we do the same thing, and I show them the spot where it happened. We go and do the weave net release thing, and we start walking back. And I'm with Jen and Rose at this point, and they were standing on the pathway, and we walked right up to that same area, except this time there's that little red cap is in a pretty similar same spot where it's just a little bit further over to the left, and I can hear the girls saying, "What is that? What is that?" And I can't remember if they took their phones out or not. I think they were taking photos. And I tried to sneak around to the left-hand side to get a better look at it. And I got up very close. I would say within 20 feet, closer than 20 feet. Here, the picnic table away, basically. And I'm still kind of going back and forth, trying not to disturb it. And I can see that all of a sudden that whatever this is, it looks like a person. It's this tall, between 3 and 4 feet, somewhere in there, 3.5 feet, I would say. And it's facing the two girls, and the two girls are trying to get a better look at it, and they're circling over that way. And as I'm getting closer to it, I stop because I can see that its head's kind of turned a little bit, and it's a red cap. It looked like it's been dyed with berries or something, and it's all woven fabric, and it's holding the staff with the crystal on the end, and it pulls this staff with the crystal back a little bit, and I can see its body from the top almost to the waist, and it looks right at me. They look like raisins for eyes. The eyes look like raisins. That's the best description for them. Really pudgy face. Didn't really see the ears, but it was very rosy skin, but very white. And yeah, the crystal on the staff was tied with twine. And whatever was attached to its clothing was attached to either its sleeve or the staff, because it went back over like this and disappeared as it brought this thing back over. And it disappeared in front of us, and they said, "Where did it go?" I go back over to where the girls are, and we all start kind of moving in towards where it was, but from the front side, from where they were. And the same thing happened where the vegetation parted and it split off and down. And it was, yeah, I think it was a gnome, but I'm not really sure really what it was. 3.5 feet, I would say. If I stand up, this tall.
I think Mike saw a red cap, and they're European. Well, I'm not too sure, but from what it sounds like, it's a European gnome. And the red cap that Mike is describing, it's actually blood. That I think.
Blood.
That's what my interpretation is, from what I
Could be.
researched. And these things were pretty evil. But I think what Mike saw was it was meant to be. It was like a magical moment, I think, that Mike had with this being, and it was a pretty special thing.
It really was.
You remember how?
We couldn't wait to get back to the group to talk about, tell them what happened, and oh my
Remember what
god.
it was wearing?
Yeah, it was the red hat. It was a brownish colored. It was like wool, looked like wool, woven wool, but there was its sleeves were kind of like a little bit more loose knit on the sleeves. It was kind of like a brownish color mixed with, it was kind of multicolored, but it was like earth tones, brown and black and yeah, very close to. It was loose fitting, and its shoulders kind of came out a little bit, like the fabric on the shoulders.
Was it working? Did the clothes give you a sense of what they do for a living, or what their work was, or what their motive for their job?
I thought this guy must be a wizard. That's what I thought. Yeah, he's a yo.
Even the gnomes have jobs. Man, you can't get away from this shit.
Sorry guys, I'm trying to hear him. What's that?
Did the crystal light up when you approached in the back, when it pulled it close to itself? Did it light up and turn color, or was it just white?
No, it was a clear crystal. It was a single crystal in the middle, and then it was like there's a bunch of small crystals at the bottom. You know when you pull one out of a cave or whatever, and there's little bits that stick onto it? It was like that. It was a clear quartz crystal. Yeah. It didn't light up, no. Not in that instance. It very well could, for all I know, though. Yeah.
The overall vibe, I know Greg was saying, he thinks it's
This guy was very happy-go-lucky energy.
That's good.
Yeah, yeah. Made us laugh hysterically when we were talking, when we got back, and
But the other thing is, it sounds like it wasn't. It was focused on the two girls, so it didn't have 360 peripheral vision. It was sort of like
yeah,
distracted, so you were
Yeah.
able to get close from behind.
it knew I was there. It knew I was there for sure, because it kept like nudging its head like this every little bit. But I didn't know what it was going into it. Like
Was it alone, Mike, or was
it was alone. That one was alone. Yeah. Yep.
What was going on between the two women? Like, what was it about their energy that it was attracted to?
I told them to distract it.
Did they know? Did they know what it was?
We didn't know what it was.
They didn't know.
They saw its forehead, its head, and like the red cap, and maybe a shoulder or something. They were taking photos, so I need to talk to them again and see if they have photos of like the cap and all that stuff. And I mean, I had my phone right in my pocket and I wasn't filming. It's just one of those moments that happens where you're unprepared for what you're going to see. You're unprepared for how weird you feel telling the story.
Did it scare the girls?
When it ran away, it startled all of us. Yeah, when it ran away, but it was just a startle. I think Jen said she saw the eyes, but I can't quite say for sure. But I saw this thing like right there, and yeah, that memory will hopefully never go away because it was.
So did it disappear, or what happened with?
Yeah, when it pulled the crystal staff in front of it, it disappeared. It was like a cloak of, like in Harry Potter, like the cloak thing that he puts on. It was like that,
It was a wizard.
like a freaking wizard.
It was veiling. That's what it was doing. It was
Mhm.
veiling itself.
Yeah. 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 Any other questions? Yep.
Yeah, so I seen a smaller version,
Yeah.
not quite like you had. It was in the dead of winter in Drummond Cemetery. And and just across, I guess if you go west of here, right in the Perry Sound area, I was friends with Terry Boyle for a few years before he died. But Boyle was the guy that wrote Haunted Ontario and a lot of haunted things.
Okay.
Haunted research books. Got a ghost hunter before it became involved.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of one thing led to another.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was saying, "Oh, Jimmy, there's the amount of elves and gnomes I've seen here was great."
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of laughed him off.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and he'd be in there going, "Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Whiskey, right?"
Yeah.
But then when I see it myself in Niagara Falls, and I actually took a picture with a 35 millimeter, I was really quick.
They film.
Right?
Film.
I seen that picture. It's
Awesome.
That was pretty cool.
It's an unbelievable picture.
So, but anyway, what I'm getting at is, so you got Niagara Falls, Perry Sound, right?
Yeah.
But it's very close to here. It's like,
Yeah.
you know,
Right up the road.
it's away, right?
Mm-hmm.
And not even. If you go out a straight line, it's probably 10 minutes. Right?
Yeah.
UFO, it's quick. But it's, yeah, just, Ontario seems to be a little bit of hotbed.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff like that. And
Yeah.
another thing too is it's got that Scottish, Irish. There's a lot of in the Anglo-Saxon Ontario.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of Irish and a lot of Scottish.
Mm-hmm. My mother's half Scottish, yeah.
There you go. Okay. I have Scottish in there too.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever had any experiences with any other like big archetypal beings, aliens, Sasquatch, bug-type beings,
Yeah.
or
Yeah, actually,
animal beings?
yeah, I've had a couple of experiences with what people call dogmen. I've had stuff happen with Sasquatch. The story that I meant to tell was one with a being that I called cedar, like a cedar tree. And it started with telepathic contact at first. And I went and stayed at a friend's place. And I woke up in the middle of the night on the couch and felt very like I needed to go outside. And earlier that day we saw UFOs, glowing balls of light in the sky, and black helicopters showed up and everything. But that night, went to sleep, I woke up, felt like I needed to go outside, walked down the steps into the backyard, and there was a hammock underneath the tree being thrown around. Zero wind. This hammock was being thrown around. It was hitting the branches of the tree and coming down. I took a couple steps closer and it started happening a little bit less, like softer. And all of a sudden it stopped. I walked right up to it and put my hands on it. I was like looking for strings and looking to see if someone was messing with me. And a subtle noise came from the corner. There's pine trees along the one side, and there's some I think they were raspberry bushes, and then other bushes, and something made noise from right behind that, and I could see the outline of a head. It was like a triangle head like that, and I could see the outline of it, and it was right at the height of like the 4-foot fence, the chain link fence, and I telepathically said to it, "I see you," and it started to stand up. It was a praying mantis being, and I was less than 10 feet from it. It took one step forward, and my memory ends. The memory was like, I have a little bit of a memory of walking up the stairs back to bed, but I think I'm filling in the gaps. I'm really not sure. I know I walked up the stairs, so I think I'm filling in the gaps with that. But that's where the memory ended. And the next morning I told my friend Teresa, we went outside, and there was all these they look like hoof prints all in the grass there. And I don't remember seeing their feet or anything, but this guy when he stood up, he was very tall. He was at least 9-10 feet. He came across to me like he was very young. And the one that I was having telepathic contact before that was very, very young. He gave himself the name of Cedar. And even when I know I'm having telepathic contact, I will actually smell cedar in my nose as if he's sending it or something. There's another being that I've had interactions with that I think they're buddies, where I call him George. I gave him the name George. Cedar gave him his own name, but I called the other one George. And all the Greys that I've interacted with have been great, to be honest, except for one. And you can ask me about that later, but I'd rather keep this more positive. Yeah. Yeah. I went to a hypnotist on Exeter Road in London. She passed away 2 years after I got it done. I got 2 sessions done, and I looked at one memory where I was leaving my friend Brian's house, and there's a pathway beside his house. And the only memory I had was light coming down from the sky, and I wanted to know what had happened. And when we did the hypnosis, I went on craft. I was laying down. There was a being beside me telling me it was okay, with her right hand on my left shoulder, kind of going like this. And other stuff happened. I'd have to listen to the recording, but I did another session with her, and very, very helpful when you have a good, like, if you have to find a good hypnosis person that you trust, because I've seen ones online and stuff, and they're totally, if you're being led down a path, that's exactly what you do not want. On the recording, this lady would just say, "What happened next? And what do you feel?" It was just very normal questions. Yeah.
Do you have that on YouTube?
Mine?
One other question. Do you know if you have any implants?
I suspect. I know I had one in my ear that I cut out. Left ear. Yeah. I have a big scar there. I have photos and stuff of it, but I taped it underneath my drawer, and the next day it was gone. But I have lots of photos of it, but it's kind of how it goes.
Mike,
Mhm.
would you like to talk about a dogman experience?
Should I be done? Like, I don't know.
That'd be really nice.
I have had dogman experiences. One of my more recent ones was when I was out in the woods with my big camera filming, trying to get photos and stuff. I saw something run left to right really, really quickly, and I kind of just saw it out of the corner of my eye. I went to go back to my car, and as I got into the front seat, I could see a dog wolf face looking at me from in the bushes, and it was at least 8-9 feet tall, and it was smiling at me, and all I saw was the teeth, started the engine, backed up, and hightailed it out of there. And I ended up having a dream that same night of running as a dog man in the dream, and we were hunting something. We scared the bejesus out of some lady in a cabin in the dream, and then I woke up with the taste of blood in my mouth, and I was spitting and coughing when I woke up. And I looked over into the hallway, and a dog man was standing in my hallway. And I still haven't heard anybody else talk about a dog man being in their home before. But I wasn't scared. I was very calm. It said, "It's okay," to me. And it turned into a blue orb and went up through the ceiling. And yeah. I can't believe I'm telling everybody this shit. Yep.
I have a question of a slightly different subject.
Yeah.
You mentioned that you joined a group in the U.S.
Yep.
What was the name of the group?
It's called the findmegroup.org. Yeah.
Have you heard the name General McCaslin?
Is that the scientist person that went missing, or part of the scientist group?
Well, he was the general in charge of the Air Force.
Right. Yeah. I think some of my friends did some remote viewing on on
Yeah,
looking for
you
him.
know he's gone missing.
Yeah, yeah,
And do you know if this? I gotta write that group down.
yeah.
Find me.
Findmegroup.org.
Findmegroup.org. So do you know if anybody in findmegroup.org is trying to find General McCaslin through remote viewing?
Not in that group, but I know other people who have. Daz Smith and the Future Forecasting Group have done that.
Okay.
They did some really good work with it. Actually, I think I did a session looking for him too.
McCaslin?
It would have been about 3 months ago when we did it.
Yeah, that would be about right. He disappeared in the winter.
Yeah, yeah. I think I got that he was dead. Yeah, I got a lot of death in that one, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that's what I'm beginning to
Yeah.
surmise, because so many people are trying to do a remote view on him.
Mm.
And if they're not getting anything, he
Hmm.
might be either dead or abducted.
Yeah, very possible.
So,
Yeah.
Can I just interrupt just for 1 second? I
Yeah,
just
yeah.
have one question. Has anybody, since the rain, walked up and down in their bare feet?
Someone drove
It's
down
mine.
there.
Okay.
Someone drove down that path.
Hmm.
Oh, I'm talking way after that.
I knew you were gonna say it.
Well, I gotta ask.
I know. I did leave a couple over there. I slipped.
I don't know if you can answer this or not, but I'm curious. All these different encounters you've had, people in your friend group, afterwards of these various encounters, have yourself or any of them come across any suspicious people? Like, I'm talking like Men in Black, or you get a knock at your door, or someone's tailing you and you're like, something doesn't feel right here.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
if it's stuff you can't get into, I totally understand, but I just like to know one way or another.
Yes. When I was living in London, and I started right after I did the video where I had the healing happen.
Yeah.
That's when it really kicked up. There's a van on my street where my friend Jen picked me up. We drove down the street and I said, stop, pull over. And I went and looked it through the front seat, and there was a camera lens poked through a fabric going down from the front seat into the back. There's a camera lens pointed right at my house. And yeah, that was very, very freaky. Yeah. But I've had some other stuff along that nature that's not so nice. But humans are nasty.
Yeah.
Yo.
You gotta watch, I don't mean to scare you anyway, just be observant. Because they hit me like that a few years back, around 2015, I was hospitalized. This is on a van always parked outside my house. And then what happened, I got flu-like symptoms, I got really disoriented, dizzy. And then they drove me to the hospital, and I had 33 oxygen levels.
Yeah.
So that's what they do with these weapons.
Yeah.
New weapons that they have.
Yeah.
The reason why I'm saying that is people like yourself, who remote viewers, psychics, or people that have the shine, okay, they can find things about different people and get different vibes. So if there's a person that has something to hide,
Yeah.
they're afraid of us.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So the
I agree.
best thing to do is like this gentleman did. So imagine what he knows.
Yeah. Exactly.
Imagine why they don't want him walking around here.
Mm-hmm.
I have a friend of mine that's spiritual. He was the head of security at the Dolce base and Area 51. Both. So when he was bombing one area, he'd fly him to the area.
Mhm.
Take the mag train over, right? And he was trained to kill.
Mhm.
He's a sharpshooter. He's missing.
Mm.
He's missing for the last 6-7 years. But they wanted it to have something to do with me going down to the Pentagon.
Mhm.
Being the guy to talk to the soldiers, calm them down from what they say.
Mhm.
And then he went missing. He was on other people. His name is Greg Brinchich.
Mhm.
Right? Just be aware of that. Right?
Yeah.
Where you're surrounded.
Always. Thank you, though. Yeah.
Is there anything else you wanted to touch on that
I'm good. Didn't expect to go that long, but yeah, I'm good.
Everyone, help me thank you.
Experience the Bigfoot Will Heal Us 4th Annual Conference and Healing Campout, presented by Sackney Arts and co-hosted by Field of Consciousness. From August 28th to August 30th, 2026, in the beautiful region of Ontario. A minimum fee of pay what you can. Join us for healing workshops featuring energy healing, astrology, tea leaf readings, remote viewing, and CE5 meditations. Engage with Sasquatch clans through live interactions led by traditional healer Judy Sackney and Ian Snyder, a friend of a Sasquatch clan, including many guest speakers. Sean Orris, Mike Vastin, remote viewer, Tyler Scott, Mike Patterson, Sasquatch researcher and contactee, and group past life regression sessions with Leslie Mitchell Clark, master hypnotherapist and regressionist. Special appearances by Zoom by Brian Bland of the Pork and Bean Show and James Brost. Enjoy an art exhibit and delicious indigenous foods, including bison burgers. Don't miss this chance to heal and connect with the Sasquatch clans. For more information, contact sackneyart@gmail.com. SACKANEYART@gmail.com.
Welcome to Genie Lamp Studios. We offer on-site video production and studio rental.